Have you ever felt like life is moving forward, but just without you? Like your prayers are falling into silence and your efforts are arriving just a little too late? This is a story for anyone who has waited, and almost gave up. It's a story about closed doors that felt cruel, delays that seemed pointless, and that one moment when everything finally clicks. Because sometimes, what feels like God's absence is actually His careful arrangement. Stay with this story right until the very end and you'll discover when God's timing finally made sense. 4 years. Eliab believed his life was running behind schedule, not just late by minutes or hours but late by destiny. At 35, while his friends posted smiling photos of promotions, weddings, and new houses, Eliab sat alone on the cracked steps of his father's old home. Watching dust rise from the road like unanswered prayers, he had done everything right. He studied hard, obeyed his elders, prayed faithfully, and worked tirelessly. Yet life seemed to pass him by like a train that refused to stop at his station. People often said, "Your time will come," but hope delayed, as the proverb says, makes the heart sick. Every morning, Eliab woke before dawn. He'd wash his face with cold water, whisper a prayer that felt thinner each day, and walk miles to town looking for work that never came. Some days he returned with empty hands, other days, with small coins that barely fed him. Still, he kept going because a man without hope is like a bird without wings. But there were nights when even the strongest hearts crack, and one such night, rain fell heavily, drumming against the tin roof like mocking applause. Eliab sat in the dark, his voice shaking. "God," he whispered, "have you forgotten me?" Silence answered him, and silence can be louder than thunder. Eliab's mother, Mama Sarah, noticed the change before anyone else. Mothers always do. She saw it in his eyes the way they no longer searched the horizon. One evening, as she stirred a pot of soup, she spoke without looking at him. "The fruit that ripens too early," she said gently, "is often sour." Eliab sighed. "But what about the fruit that never ripens at all?" She turned to face him, her face lined with years and wisdom. "My son, God is never late. He is never early. He is always precise." Eliab wanted to believe her. Truly, he did. But belief is hard when your stomach is empty and your dreams feel buried. Days turned into months. Months dragged into years. Then came the breaking point. One afternoon, Eliab finally received an offer, the opportunity he had prayed for relentlessly. A wealthy trader needed a manager for his business in the city. The pay was good. The future looked bright. For the first time in years, Eliab smiled without forcing it. But joy, like glass, can shatter quickly. On the day he was to travel, the trader sent word the position had been given to someone else. No explanation, no apology. Eliab collapsed onto the ground, his chest tight. "That was my chance," he muttered. "My only chance." That night, anger replaced sorrow. He stopped praying. He stopped hoping. He stopped expecting anything good. After all, how many times can a man knock before he accepts the door will never open? Weeks later, Eliab reluctantly agreed to accompany an old neighbor on a journey to a distant village. The trip promised no money, no recognition, only long roads and hard labor, but Eliab needed an escape. Along the way, they encountered broken bridges, flooded paths, and unexpected delays. Each setback irritated Eliab. "Why does everything always go wrong?" he complained. His neighbor chuckled softly. "Sometimes," he said, "what you call delay is actually protection." One evening, they stopped at a small village where sickness had spread. The people were desperate. The old neighbor introduced Eliab as someone educated, trustworthy, and strong. Against his will, Eliab stepped in, organizing supplies, comforting families, coordinating help. He worked day and night, forgetting his own pain as he served others. And something strange happened. For the first time in years, Eliab felt useful. Not important, not praised, just useful. And usefulness has a quiet way of healing broken souls. Months later, a government official visited the village. Impressed by the order and progress he saw, he asked a simple question: "Who is responsible for this?" All fingers pointed to Eliab. Within weeks, Eliab was offered a leadership role, one far greater than the job he had lost. a role that required the wisdom, patience, and compassion he had only developed through years of waiting and disappointment. That night, as Eliab knelt under the stars, tears filled his eyes. Suddenly, the puzzle pieces fit. If the first job had worked out, he would never have gone on that journey. If the journey hadn't delayed him, he would never have reached that village. If life hadn't broken him, he would never have been ready. In that moment, God's timing made perfect sense. Years later, Eliab would often share his story, saying, "What you don't understand in the waiting, you will appreciate in the remembering." He learned that life is not a race, and destiny is not a competition. Some blessings come quickly, others arrive dressed as delays. And sometimes, God allows the road to be long not to punish us but to prepare us. Because a crown placed too early can crush the head that wears it. Eliab no longer feared waiting. He embraced it. He is still working. When doors close, he is redirecting. And when the timing finally arrives, it does not just make sense, it makes peace. And so, the man who once thought he was forgotten discovered that he was, in fact, being perfectly positioned. Because what is meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. This story resonated with you? Please like, share, and subscribe for more content that speaks to the heart. Thanks for watching.